Update 2. She demanded, chores are 50-50, I said, then so are bills, she laughed. Nice try. Bills are the man's job. I replied, fine. The next day, I cancelled all the utility auto payments for my account. Her first clue was when the power was shut off in the middle of her favorite show. At exactly 9:27 p.m., in the middle of a particularly dramatic confrontation between a woman named Tiffany and a woman named Chantal, the entire house went dark. The television, the lights, the air conditioning, everything died in an instant, plunging the room into a silent, inky blackness. What the hell? Sarah yelled from the sofa. Did you blow a fuse? No, I said calmly from the kitchen, where I had been enjoying the show. The whole house is out. Must be a power outage in the neighborhood. I knew it wasn't. The electricity bill, which had been due 3 days prior, had gone unpaid for the first time in the 8 years I'd lived in this house. The utility company, as is their protocol, had sent a final warning email to my email address, which I had ignored, and then they had cut the power. Sarah fumbled for her phone, using its flashlight to navigate the dark room. I'm going to check the utility company's website, she said, her voice full of annoyance. This is ridiculous. I'm missing the finale. She tapped on her phone for a moment. That's weird, she said. I can't get online. Is the Wi-Fi down? ? It would seem so, I said. The internet bill, paid to the same company as the cable, had also gone unpaid. The service had been suspended that afternoon. I'll just use my data, she grumbled. She tapped on her phone again. Her frustration grew. I can't even get a signal in here. What is going on? That's probably because our cell phone plan was suspended this morning for non-payment, I explained, my voice still perfectly level. She finally turned the beam of her phone's flashlight onto my face. Her expression was a mixture of confusion and dawning horror. Non-payment, she repeated. What are you talking about? All of that is on autopay. It was, I said, but I cancelled all the auto payments last week. As per our new 50-50 partnership, I've been handling my half of the chores. I assumed you, as my equal partner, were handling your half of the bills. She just stared at me, speechless. The logic of the situation was slowly, painfully crashing into the wall of her entitlement. But you're the man, she finally stammered. Bills are your job. You said fine. I said fine to your new system, I corrected her. A system where everything is 50-50. I am simply following the rules you established. I did my chores. Did you pay the bills? The look on her face was my answer. She hadn't just not paid them. The thought had never even entered her mind. How are we going to fix this? She whispered, the panic finally setting in. We have no power, no internet, no phones. Well, I said, pulling a book and a flashlight from a nearby drawer, I'm going to do some reading. As for you, I believe the utility company has a 24-hour automated payment line. You'll need to find a place with a working phone to call them, and you'll need a credit card. I hope you have a high limit. The reconnection fees are a killer. I clicked on my flashlight, opened my book, and settled into my armchair. I left her standing there in the dark, illuminated only by the dying light of her phone, in a cold, silent house, completely alone with the consequences of her own philosophy. Update 2. The night of the Great Blackout was just the beginning of Sarah's education in the fundamentals of cause and effect. After an hour of frantic, whispered phone calls to her parents from her car to get their credit card number, the power was eventually restored. The cost, including the hefty reconnection fees, was, as I predicted, substantial. She came back into the house, her face a mask of sulk and fury. She didn't speak to me. She just went to bed. She thought the crisis was over. She had no idea it was just a system diagnostic. The full system crash was still to come. The next morning, she tried to take a shower. She turned the handle, and all that came out was a sad, gurgling trickle of cold water. The water bill, paid to a different municipal department, had also gone unpaid. The service had been shut off that morning. The meltdown that followed was a sight to behold. She stormed into the living room wrapped in a towel, screaming that I was a cruel, manipulative monster. I am a systems analyst, Sarah, I said calmly, not looking up from my laptop. I am simply identifying and exposing a flaw in the system you designed. Your system, which posits that you are entitled to 50% of the rights and 0% of the responsibilities, is not a functional partnership. It is a parasitic relationship. I am merely cutting off the host. That was the day she finally seemed to grasp the full scope of her predicament. Her entire lifestyle, the comfortable, convenient world she took for granted, was not a given. It was an infrastructure that required constant, significant financial input. An infrastructure that I had single-handedly designed, built, and maintained, and I had just decommissioned the entire network.